Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hello and welcome on into another edition of The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. That's why it's called that. That's why it's my show. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, live on YouTube every weekday at high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Guys, I woke up feeling dangerous coming into the show. I came in, I was doing my little work right before we get on the air, and Zach Burke told me, Cam, I haven't told you yet, but I really like your Bruins hat. And since then, I have been pitching a tent and ready to go, especially to talk about Bruins training camp. We are going to go stock up, stock down, as we're about the halfway point through Bruins training camp. We're also going to talk a lot of Red Sox. That magic number is down to 1. The unexpected hero of this last week or so. And can that continue into October? We'll go over that. And did Garrett Crochet's absolutely shoving performance last night win him the American League Cy Young? And more importantly, is this the most confident you felt about a Game 1 starter for the Red Sox in a generation? All that and more coming up on this episode of The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. We start where we start. It's in the thumbnail. It's why you guys are here, and it's where we start every day. So why not just hop into it, okay? We're about halfway through Bruins training camp. Before they take the ice against the Washington Capitals on opening night, it's time to take some stock. I feel like I'm on the floor right now. Who's actually making this team? Let's give you a quick little 3 up, 3 down for the 2025-26 Boston Bruins training camp. First, we'll start stock up. And the first name that has to be here is the one, the only, Fraser Minten. I mean, stock has been through the roof with Fraser Minten through training camp. In fact, he's the only true prospect that everyone around camp says is nailed on to make the team. In fact, Fluto Shinzawa of The Athletic, whom I read all the time, says he is the only one who will make the team at all from the prospect group. But we'll get to that in a minute. It's kind of weird to talk about him as the first stock up guy because, well, he hasn't done much offensively. He hasn't recorded a point in either of the 2 preseason games. And there are still some questions about that part of his game, his offensive creativity. He's obviously very young. He just turned 21. But where he stands out is in literally any other facet of the game. And that's why his stock is up. And that's why all the reviews of Fraser Minten so far are absolutely glowing. Yeah, he's only had 5 shots through the 2 preseason games. But he's also had the same amount of blocked shots and the same amount of hits, 5 each. Those are exactly the things you have to do if you're going to want to grab a third-line center spot in the NHL. And Fraser Minten is cementing his place right there. Like, of course, with most coaches in the league, but Marco Sturm, first-time NHL head coach, wants to be a little bit more defensive-minded. He is absolutely going to be looking for that third line to be a matchup line, a defensive line. We want to throw that against another team's top line, night in, night out. We need you to be shut down and play well in your own zone. And Fraser Minten is fitting right there. His defensive game is, I think, way ahead of his offensive one. And that's how he's going to make an NHL roster this year with the Bruins. That's how he's going to have a spot for 82 games, is doing that. And hopefully, that offensive game will come. He's obviously a very well thought of prospect. He's still really young. I don't want to put a ceiling on him yet. But those things can develop by playing in the NHL more. And the way that he gets in the NHL for 82 games this season is being stout defensively and being good at the faceoff dot. He's 12 of 20 on faceoff so far. Like, that's something the Bruins got a lot better at throughout the season. Like, there were stretches last year and even the year before where they were truly terrible from the faceoff dot. Like, just couldn't get any possession because they didn't have big, strong guys. They didn't have puck carriers, and they couldn't win faceoffs. Now, 60%, like Fraser Minten's at right now, that would be like top of the NHL kind of numbers. But the Bruins leader last year was Elias Lindholm. He was right at about 55%. And they had a couple of guys right below that, 54, 52, I think. And if Fraser Minten can live around that number, if he's near that, he's going to be on the big club the whole year. I think the other stuff, the defensive style, the way that he's playing will certainly help him in that regard as well. So Fraser Mitten, first, big time stock up. Stock down, and this one hurts for me, but stock down, Matthew Poitras. I mean, technically it's kind of stock neutral, but for me, and I think for a lot of Bruins fans, it's going to feel like stock down, and it isn't necessarily his fault. Let's get into it. The downside of Fraser Mitten having stock up is the adverse effect of Matthew Poitras stock going down. Obviously, like I mentioned, Mitten brings a little more physicality, a little defensive acumen that will slot well in the third line. Poitras doesn't bring that. He's a kid with good vision, good skater, offensive creativity, but he hasn't shown a lot of it through 66 NHL games across a couple of injury-riddled seasons. That's the thing. He's been injured both of these years, and he needs to get used to a grind of an 82-game schedule. And for the sake of this year coming out of camp, there's just not really anywhere to put him yet. Like part of me still gets mad seeing Sean Corrali is almost certainly going to take that fourth line center spot, because when he was signed, I immediately had this thought of like, why are we signing a guy who's a career fourth liner that you're going to give 2 years to, and it's just going to block one of your guys from a roster spot? And now it's true. It is going to block one of their guys from a roster spot. But on the other hand, I also didn't want Poitras just exclusively playing with fourth liners and plugs. Like I didn't want him playing with Mark Kastelik for a whole season, because then you're just not getting any real chances to create. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword, because there's another guy who is going to make that fourth line who might actually help Matthew Poitras a little bit. But these are my worst fears coming true. He's going to start the year in Providence. And hopefully there he's going to learn more about the defensive parts of the game, while also getting a chance to shine in what he is really good at, and that is driving play. But maybe they'll have him on some penalty kill units as well as a power play unit just to get the experience. Probably have him on the second one, Don Zluch-Melis on the first one, because he's going to be a more creative player than Don Zluch-Melis and Fraser Mitten in all likelihood. But he clearly needs to iron out a more well-rounded game. And the injuries the last 2 seasons have probably prevented him from doing that. This is a kid who's basically made the roster out of camp the last 2 years, and he's not going to make it this year, I don't think. He is still only 21. He's about to turn 22, I believe. No, he's just turned 21 this year. I think he's an 04 baby. So age 22 season by the end of the season. He'll have some opportunities, and certainly he'd be one of the first guys up if a forward goes down, maybe even sometime on the wing if you need him to. But certainly stock down right now for Matthew Poitras because he's likely not going to make the team. Surprising stock up, Casey Mittelstadt. Okay, the other reason why Poitras is stock down is because Casey Mittelstadt has that stock going up, and he's probably locked down that second line center role. And there are some real expectations for Mittelstadt here, who is probably a throw-in a trade, as I've speculated. I think the Bruins really probably only wanted Will Zellers in that trade with Colorado, and the Avs said, no, you got to take Mittelstadt instead, or on top of that, I should say. And there's real expectations for him this year. I don't know if that's a good thing or not for the Bruins. We'll see. He's obviously been a total Jekyll and Hyde player. Had a couple of assists the other night against the Rangers. Looked pretty good out there. Against a lot of AHL guys, to be fair, but playing with AHL guys. And speaking of that, you might be used to that because AHL guys are certainly the players that Mittelstadt was playing with last year when he got traded to the Bruins. It's not like he was lighting it up or anything for the Avs last year, a much more talented team. But he comes to Boston, 6 points in 18 games, playing a lot with Vinny Lettieri and Cole Koepke. That's not a recipe for success. I think there's a good chance this year on the second line, he's playing alongside Pavel Zacha, who I think they're going to put on the wing again, and Victor Arvidsson on the other side. Not exactly the O2 Red Wings or anything, but it's a major step up from Lettieri and Koepke. Like, these guys can play in the NHL. Full stop. No doubt. In fact, there isn't any doubt that they could play in the NHL. So I have a feeling he's going to be a center on that line and probably the center in your second power play unit too. So a lot of their secondary scoring, which they desperately need some help on this year, relies on Casey Middlestat. And Casey Middlestat being a fraction of what he was drafted to be all those years ago. I think this could be a nice chance for him to bounce back and show why he's still a player in this league, to be quite fair. So for me, Casey Middlestat, stock up, and it probably needs to be not only because of the secondary scoring, but because of the fact that you're paying him $5.75 million this year, and you really need him to be serviceable, 40 to 45 point guy, at least. Stock down, another one that kind of hurts. Fabian Lysell, another one of these prospects that stock down, and that just continues to be the story for the Bruins year in, year out. This was the year, more so than any year of the last 20, where a prospect could really impress at camp and find a spot on the NHL roster, most in like 15, 16 years, I would say. And Matthew Poitras, through some things outside of his control, mainly kind of what they're looking for, he's not going to make it, I don't think. Fabian Lysell, it's on him, man. I really want him to be an NHL guy. Like, I really do. But he just hasn't done enough. 1 goal in 12 NHL games last year is one thing. You know, maybe he deserves a bit more of a run. But through 2 preseason games where he does get plenty of run, he's got 3 shots total. And he's been shut out. No points, no assists. That's not going to do him any favors, man. The Bruins, they clearly bought a stopgap with the Victor Arvidsson trade so that they could attack a scoring wing either in free agency or the trade market next year, or maybe sometime at this year at the trade deadline, because they have some clear concerns over whether Fabian Lysell can be an every night NHL player. He's got some good speed, but they're still looking for like a nailed on NHL trait about him. You know, you hear it all the time, like these guys who are just surviving in the league. You've got to have one thing, whether it is your skating ability, your physicality in the case of someone like Tanner Jeannot, an NHL shot, which kept Morgan Geekie in the league for a couple of years, and now it's coming to fruition with the Bruins. They just haven't really found that from Fabian Lysell yet. You know, he's fast, but he's not the fastest guy on the ice. You know, he's short. He doesn't bring a lot for a defensive game or a physical game. He doesn't have an otherworldly snapshot, which at times it looked like Morgan Geekie had last year, just an unreal shot. He doesn't have any of those things. So the only spot he was really probably going to find himself this year that was going to be worth it for both him and the Bruins was going to be in the second line wing. And I think from what we saw with how it played out last year, mostly with him not playing rather than the times that he did play for the Bruins, that it just wasn't going to work. I think they're much more comfortable putting Zacha on the wing on the second line, and again, having Middlestat in that line, Fraser Mitten as the full-time 3C, which really doesn't leave any room for Fabian Lysell. So I don't see a role for Fabian Lysell here, at least at the beginning of the season. Obviously, injuries, they come along, but I think it's going to be real tough for Fabian Lysell to really impress the Bruins, and I doubt at this point next year he will be a part of the organization. But maybe that's just me taking a pretty fatalistic look at 2 preseason games. They still got a couple more to go. Stock up. I'm kind of combining this one here, and it's not necessarily fair. But stock up for me certainly has to go to a couple of the new guys that I highlighted the other day, and those would be Matej Blumel and Mikey Eyssimont. They absolutely get stock up. They don't have good pictures, so we're not showing you their pictures. But Mikey Eyssimont, Matej Blumel, I think they've both found spots for this team. Recommend looking at that other segment, watching it if you haven't watched it yet, kind of break down what they did against the Rangers the other night. But not only did Blumel show some, I think, real goal-scoring instincts in that goal he scored, but he's been getting looks on the second power play with the Bruins in practice. So that means they're seeing a role for him. And look, again, 70 AHL goals in 2 seasons. I know it's the AHL, but that has to translate to something. I mean, for a team like this that's desperate for wing scoring, I don't think it's crazy to think Matej Blumel will not only make this team, but be a 15 to 20 goal guy. I think that can translate, especially if he's going to get power play minutes. Like that is big. I've been impressed with kind of his minor league career, and where the Bruins are at right now. I think it's a good time to take a chance on a guy like that, especially with how desperate you are for wing scoring. But the guy I've maybe been most impressed with through 2 preseason games is Mikey Eyssimont. I mean, dude stole the show on Broadway against the Rangers. They have that 3-goal comeback in the third period, and Mikey Eyssimont is in on all 3 goals. 2 goals and an assist. And the one that is the preseason play of the year for the Bruins, which the way this roster shaken out could be the play of the year for the Bruins in a preseason game, was when they were shorthanded and Eyssimont's out there. So already they like him in a penalty killing role. He just hounds the heck out of Adam Fox and just takes the puck right off his stick, just immediately on him. Fox has nowhere to skate, and Eyssimont just takes it right off his stick, goes through the 5-hole of another defender, then forehand, backhand, top titty, and he's got the play of the preseason so far. Scores another goal later on in that period, and then again assists on the game-tying goal and a 6-on-5 opportunity to Marat Hustadinov, another guy who's probably going to make this roster as well. But that, to me, is like a revelation. This is a guy who had 16 points in the NHL last year. I'm not saying he's going to go out and get 40 or 45 for you, but to have a player like that on your fourth line, I think that's a huge, huge advantage from where the Bruins were last year. Like, to me, he's earned that spot as a winger on the fourth line. And that could be a really interesting unit, by the way. Really interesting unit with a couple other guys I've been pretty critical of. Mark Kastelik has his ups and downs, and Sean Corrali. I think that could be an actual line that's tough to play against. That's a term that's thrown around a lot, but I think it could actually be true when it comes to this year's fourth line. So Mikey Eyssimont, Matej Blumel, stock way, way up. Final stock down, certainly, not only after this preseason, but what it's looked like the last couple of years. Stock down, not Fabian Lysell, but rather Johnny Beecher. In my world, in the world I'm living in, the stock is always down for Johnny Beecher. I have just never been a fan. Certainly, it doesn't help that on draft night, the Bruins basically said, yeah, we're hoping he'll be a good fourth liner for us. Don't love that start, and have just never been a fan. He's a fast skater, but he really brings nothing else to the table. Nothing. Like, you look, I really wanted to put Michael DiPietro in the spot before I get on with Johnny Beecher. I wanted to put DiPietro in there. That's a guy who really wanted to come and take the bull by the horns, be the backup goalie, and rid us of Jonas Korpisalo and just have him in some salary dump trade, especially after the year he had in Providence last year. He had like a 2011 Tim Thomas kind of year in Providence. But 5-goal performance against Washington wasn't all his fault, but he just really didn't make the big save in that game that you were probably hoping for and looking for if you were at the Bruins coaching staff. He'll obviously get a couple more games to kind of correct that. But I was hoping to put DiPietro, but I got to look with a guy who's been on the NHL roster the last couple of years. Mercifully, this Johnny Beecher experiment might be over. Dude scored 3 goals in 78 games last year. And he's got 10 in 120 NHL games. He's not an NHL player. He's just not. We need to face that. And again, you drafted him in the first round. You were hoping he'd be a fourth-line guy. And this year he's showing you he's not even that good. And in the game the other night, bad turnover that led directly to a Rangers goal. It was Gabe Perreault's goal. And Connor Ryan actually tweeted out this damning stat that in that game, the Beecher, Kastelik, Farinacci line was outshot 5-0 and outscored 2-0 in just 7.5 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time. Yeah. Only Kastelik out of that group is an NHLer, and he's barely an NHLer. I've just, again, never been a John Beecher guy. And I think they're much more comfortable with having 2 natural centers in Kastelik and Corrali on the fourth line and stick Eyssimont on the wing. Beecher did come in as a center, had to play on the wing a lot. Like, the Bruins might not have gotten any better this offseason, but at least they have evolved past the need for a John Beecher. I mean, the dude was just out there getting cardio. That was it. Was not providing anything offensively, defensively, just nothing. So I'm glad that the stock is down, because I think the Bruins are a better roster when you have someone that's slightly better than Johnny Beecher, and I think Michael Eyssimont could be that. And again, I sang Eyssimont's praises for what he did the other night. It's not like his career numbers are dwarfing John Beecher's, but I see already he's got a better NHL shot than John Beecher does. He's got better goal scoring instincts than John Beecher does. Like, what he did in that preseason game is better than anything Beecher did in the regular season last year or in the preseason last year. So yeah, to me, Michael Eyssimont gets that spot. John Beecher does not. That was our quick 3 stocks up, 3 stocks down. Who is stock up, stock down for you guys so far in this Bruins preseason? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll do another check-in at the end of next week after a few more preseason games and after I get to a few more practices over at Warrior Ice Arena. But so far, I got to say, I've been impressed with some of the fringe guys like Eyssimont and Blumel, and some of the fringe guys I haven't been impressed with have been guys that the Bruins already had on their roster. So maybe that is a good kind of change. Let me know in the comment section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. That's why it's called The Cam Show. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking Bruins, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports, because this is the lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Red Sox, because the games are getting more and more important, and suddenly they start winning. Their magic number is down to 1, and it's thanks in large part to one of the most unlikely heroes in their lineup. We'll tell you who that is and whether he can keep this going into the postseason. That's next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
And now, back to our show.
Back to our show. Not just my show, but your show too. Our show. The Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. Just because it's named after me doesn't mean we can't get you guys involved. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section below. Talking about stock up, stock down for the Bruins training camp. Get your thoughts in on that. And let me know what you think about this Red Sox playoff push. It's coming down to the wire, of course, as we've been talking about all week. The magic number is now 1 to clinch a playoff spot, and things are getting very interesting at the top of the AL East as well. Red Sox still in that second wild card, still holding off those, well, I would say those pesky Guardians, but now it's those somewhat not pesky Detroit Tigers that they're holding off. Let's do a quick check here before we talk about the hidden hero in this sudden playoff push. 2 games up over the Tigers in the second wild card spot, and the Houston Astros, who are themselves not doing themselves any favors. The Tigers have lost 8 in a row. The Astros have lost 5 in a row. They sit 1 game behind Detroit. So some loser that can't get out of their own way in the last month in September is going to get into the playoffs here in the American League, which is fascinating and maybe good for all the other teams involved. We talked about how wide open this league is. I mean, shoot, it continues to be that way. But when it comes to the Red Sox, I got to set the record straight here. Look, I knew it all along. All the Red Sox offense needed was to put Masataka Yoshida in the cleanup spot, and everything else would figure itself out. You, me, everyone knew it, man. Everyone knew that's exactly what they needed. Look it up. I definitely never said that anytime Yoshida's batting cleanup and Christian Campbell is in Worcester that a puppy gets cancer. Never said that. Didn't happen. Okay? Clear that from the record. But wow. The Red Sox have themselves a cleanup hitter, folks. Like, for real. Back-to-back huge wins in Toronto, and the catalyst, well, at least offensively the catalyst, has somehow been Masataka Yoshida and his stupid Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson walk-up song. Like, in September, the dude's been cooking. How about a 333 average, 344 on base, 818 OPS? The last week, where the games get even more important, he's been even better. A 970 OPS with 4 extra base hits in crucial games, driven in 11 runs this month. He set the tone in Tuesday's win, and he did it again last night. First inning, RBI double, puts them up 1-0, moving the line, 5 straight hits in that first inning, and they're up 3-0 before Toronto even gets to hit. As a solo homer in the game last night as well. First home run not off a position player this year, I think. I think his only other home run came off Clemens. I believe that was Casey Clemens. Maybe Colby. I don't know. And these are 2 big nights in a row for Masa. And I think what's even more important about that is look who it's coming off of. It's coming off of Kevin Gausman and Max Scherzer, Toronto's best starters. Their ace and a future Hall of Famer. And in those 2 games, 5 for 9, 3 extra base hits, which is a huge number for him, and 2 RBI. And now the magic number's 1. That's clutch. Masataka Yoshida has been clutch for the 2025 Red Sox. Masataka Yoshida in the same sentence as clutch. I never thought I'd see the day. I certainly didn't think we'd see 2025 in that same sentence. But here he is. He's doing the damn thing, man. I got to give him some credit. Doesn't make up for how bad he's been the rest of the year. And no, but in his obvious deficiencies, but he's been clutch right now. But now the big question for me anyway, and for some other Red Sox fans, is this. Is he getting hot at the right time and becoming an X factor in the postseason? Or is he just a guy who feeds off the Toronto Blue Jays? Because, I mean, in 25 career games against the Blue Jays, he has 4 homers now, the most against any one opponent in his career, and has a 951 OPS against them, the second highest of any opponent in his career. Kind of tough to argue. He crushes the Blue Jays. He loves it up there. Maybe he just crushes Toronto and nobody else. I mean, the numbers for September are still good, so it would show that he is getting hot right now. But the only power he's hit for has been against the Blue Jays. That's maybe a red flag, right? Well, not necessarily. Because now that in large part, thanks to Masataka Yoshida, the Toronto Blue Jays have lost back-to-back games. And the Yankees have won back-to-back games. And those 2 teams are tied atop the AL East. So if the Blue Jays do not somehow clinch the division, and they're still in the postseason, That means they'll be playing in the wild card series against, most likely, the Boston Red Sox. So then it doesn't matter if Yoshida just feeds off them or if he's actually hot, because that's who they're still going to be playing. He might just become a playoff hero completely by default, which is fine by me. I'll take that. No one remembers whether Kike Hernandez just crushed the Rays. They just remember that he was like Babe Ruth in that one series. It'd be like if Tua got to the AFC Championship game and he was playing the Patriots. I think that would be perfect scenario, right? Of course, the Red Sox still have the highest likelihood of playing the Yankees in the wild card series, and that means that Yoshida will probably go back to normal, and no one will ever hear from him again, and those puppies will start getting cancer again. And but wait, what's this? Oh, he has 3 homers and 20 RBI against the Yankees in 29 career games. Gasp audibly. So if you think it's just Yoshida taking advantage of an opponent he rakes against, I got good news for you. He rakes against the 2 most likely teams the Red Sox will face in the wild card round, and I am here for it 100%. I'm loving it. Bad news is he does not rake against the Detroit Tigers, who they will be facing over the weekend in some crucial games. But maybe that'll be the test of whether he gets hot or whether he's hot or not. Play a little hot or not, Masataka Yoshida edition. The bottom line is this lineup, they needed somebody. They needed a hero. Like, you can't just expect Wilyer Abreu to hop into the lineup right away and save the middle of your lineup. Like, you're still not going to get that. You're still not getting enough from Alex Bregman, quite frankly, the last month and a half. And Trevor Story's been great, but he can't do it all by himself. One man maketh not a lineup. Oh, yeah, and speaking of that, Roman Anthony is not walking through that door. That's where Yoshida's been so valuable. We, as Red Sox fans, we've needed someone to come along and to just keep the line moving at that spot in the lineup. He's not going to be a home run threat ever, okay? He's really not going to be an extra base hit threat. He's not going to be any kind of power threat in the United States of America. But he's keeping the line moving, keeping innings alive through the middle of that order. And with an order that's so challenged right now, they need that. And he's doing it. Full stop, he's doing it. I still wish they kept Kyle Schwarber. But what do I know? That's water under the bridge. They'll probably be both playing on the same team next year, hopefully. But let me know what you guys think. Is Masataka Yoshida hot, or is this just fluky against the Blue Jays? And do you think he'll carry it over into the postseason? Is he the bat that the Red Sox really needed right now? Let me know in the comment section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday at high noon Eastern time, and then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. That's why it's called The Cam Show. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. We're live on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts. So check out the channel, talking Bruins, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports all over this YouTube channel. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Coming up next, the Red Sox got their magic number down to 1, yes, but maybe more importantly to some fans, not all, not me. Did Garrett Crochet win the Cy Young Award last night? Let's talk about it next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Visit roguemediamusic.com for more music.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com.
And now, back to our show.
Get back to it. I love when Pete calls it our show. What can I say, man? I love that. It is the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. We've talked about the Bruins. We've talked about the Red Sox kind of hidden hero in Masataka Yoshida, and certainly he has been that the last couple of weeks, and it's making me eat a lot of my words, that's for sure. But he's the hidden hero. You need guys who are the not so hidden heroes, and that's really what Garrett Crochet is, man. I mean, just another day to be super thankful that he's on our baseball team and not somebody else's. I'll drink to that pretty much any day of the week. Before we get into Garrett Crochet, do want to update, because we've been doing this every day this week, and that is not Masataka Yoshida. Want to see the postseason picture, because look at how interesting that's getting. Detroit and Cleveland have now flipped because Cleveland has sole possession of first place of the AL Central. It's incredible. A 15.5 game lead is gonzo. It's done. Still pretty much the same path. I mean, still not pretty much, still the same path for the Red Sox right now, because Toronto has the tiebreaker over the Yankees. So if the season ended today, even though they were tied atop the AL East, it would be Toronto's division still. So the Red Sox would have to go on the road and play the Yankees in the House of Pain, as they used to call it. And the Mets get back in on the National League side. We're not following that National League side, but that Mets-Reds thing is getting pretty interesting. So still the same path for the Red Sox right now as it was yesterday. But let's get into our little Mr. Piggy, shall we? Because he has been a pig all season long. It has been so fun to watch. I think Garrett Crochet might have just won the Cy Young Award. I think that happened last night. At this point in the year, every outing becomes the most important one of the season. On the road, against a team trying to win the division, going against a Hall of Famer, and all he does is what he's done all season. He shoved. 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Hit 200 innings for the first time in his career, became the first pitcher to get to 250 strikeouts this year. He's gone 6+ innings and given up less than 3 runs in each of his last 4 starts. And I got to say 2 things about this. The first thing, I was wrong about Garrett Crochet this month. I was wrong about how this September was going to go. You remember that bad start he had against Cleveland a couple weeks ago? Gave up, I think, 7 runs in 6 innings and like 4 homers. And at the time, I did a segment about it. At the time, I was railing against him, being like, are you kidding me? It's one of the worst offenses in the league. And they absolutely handed him his lunch. They're playing meaningless baseball. Turns out Cleveland was not playing meaningless baseball, and they're one of the hottest teams. Actually, they are the hottest team in the major leagues. And after that start, I thought he was cooked. I thought he was done. I thought it was Chris Sale all over again, and that he was totally out of gas. Because remember, he hadn't pitched more than 160 innings ever in his career. It was eerily similar to the way Chris Sale looked his first year here, and to be quite fair, his second year here, just a little bit earlier. And that wasn't the case. He's a gamer. and he's still pitching. He's not throwing. He's not blowing 97 by you. He's pitching. The other thing that most of us were absolutely right about, what a freaking trade. What an extension. That extension gave us all extensions. I thought of this especially in the game last night, not just because of the way that Crochet was pitching, but also seeing Jose Barrios coming into that game in the 7th inning with his team down by 4 runs. You remember how desperately we all wanted him a couple years ago? Like, I was begging Heim to make that move. We were all pissed that he didn't, and that they let a division rival go and get him. And that to me at the time with Barrios on the table, I was like, that's a way to get your ace right there. He's available. You can go out and get him. And Toronto thought that's what they were doing. They weren't. This Red Sox trade was. They've been apprehensive on trading for pitching, but it's usually worked. Like, more often than not in the Heim and Breslow regimes, the starting pitching stuff has worked. You know, there's obvious ones that didn't. Garrett Richards, Rich Hill off and on. Walker Buehler didn't. But like Michael Wacha did. Nick Pivetta did. Nathan Eovaldi, who was Dombrowski, I guess. That was still 2018. Absolutely did. Garrett Crochet certainly has. Certainly has. And now that Crochet's thrown in the biggest games of the year, throwing gems in the biggest games of the year for the Red Sox, I got to ask the question, is Tarek Skubal still the front runner to win the Cy Young? Both teams are, well, definitely the Red Sox are going to make the playoffs. I'm not so worried about that right now. And if it comes to that kind of collapse, that's what I'll get worried about. But I do want to think that Garrett Crochet won the Cy Young last night with how well he's done down the stretch. I mean, Skubal's been a bit hard luck, and he's lost his last 3 starts. I think 2 of them he gave up 2 runs or less. But we should do a side-by-side here. The old baseball reference. And it finally looks good. I've never gotten it to look good on this show. And this is what's fascinating to me in this side-by-side. Because when it comes to any award, it's all about how you interpret the numbers, right? Are you a counting stats guy? Or are you a purely, percentage stats guy? Or are you somewhere in between? And when you look at this, the counting stats go to Crochet, right? The starts, the innings, the wins, the strikeouts. But all the other stuff goes to Skubal. WAR, ERA plus, strikeout percentage, lower walks, counting stat. Those all go to Tarek Skubal. And so typically, when it comes down to just those 2 things, I'm more on the Skubal side. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I put more into, I love ERA plus, how you're doing against the rest of your competition. And that's a pretty sizable difference right there, if we're being honest. It's not the only thing. Certainly, I don't take wins very much into account these days in the year of our Lord 2025. But the other thing you do need to take into account with these awards, and the definitions seem to change all the time, is it a value award? Is it a context award? Or is it just the greatest? Because I talked about this yesterday, actually talking about the Tigers' collapse. This came up. Justin Morneau in 2006 did not have as good a year as David Ortiz. David Ortiz should have won the MVP that year. But the Twins made a great run at the end and snuck into the postseason. And Morneau was their best player. They actually won the AL Central. They took it from Detroit. They kind of came out of nowhere. Not quite like Cleveland, but not that far off. And that's how Morneau won the award. That award goes to the most valuable player. And the Red Sox didn't make the playoffs that year. So it makes some sense, right? It's the reason why David Pastrnak didn't win it last year in the NHL, because they think of it as the best player award, not the most valuable player award. Cy Young typically goes to just the best overall pitcher, not the most valuable one. But if you're talking about value, Garrett Crochet's giving you that, man. Quality start after quality start, not losing these games. And maybe more importantly than Skubal, and maybe I'm just being hard on Skubal because his team keeps losing. But like, how many times in this month have the Red Sox gone to a Crochet start and been like, we need to win here. We need a really good performance. We need him to go deep in the ball game. Certainly last night was that. After, the 2 games of Whitlock and Chapman, you needed him to go deep, and he gives you a perfect start, man. 8 innings, no runs, no walks. Perfect stuff. So as someone who's watched Crochet all season long, and admittedly not nearly this, I've watched probably 5 or 6 Skubal starts, so that's why I'm not voting on this thing. Like, I've watched Garrett Crochet and said, like, that's the best pitcher in the American League. Like, he has been that good, truly, I think. But I do want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section below. Did Garrett Crochet just steal the Cy Young Award away from Tarek Skubal the same way the Guardians just stole the division title from the Tigers? Let me know in the comments section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday at high noon Eastern time, and then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well, talking Red Sox, Bruins, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Before we get you out of here, I couldn't let this go by without showing how the game ended last night. I mean, just awesome, awesome stuff. Alejandro Kirk at the plate, switch hitter, so that's important. He's hitting from the right side against a left-handed Peyton Tolle. Hits a one-hopper into right field, and somehow that becomes the final out of the game.
Line drive and a base hit into right is out. How about that?
Brady was playing pretty shallow. This thing was absolutely smoked. We talked about how Kirk really doesn't run great. Brady comes up firing a one-hopper and gets Kirk out.
Wow.
Like, why is Nate Lowe even on first base? Like, credit to him. That's a real pro right there. I wouldn't even be covering first. And there he is. Just and gets him no review needed. Like, that's an out. 9-3 put out to end the ball game. Kirk's not even in the frame by the time the throw gets there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really funny, man. I'm sorry. That's really funny. And it's good to laugh at other teams that aren't the Red Sox at this time of year. Anyway, thanks for joining once again. We will see you tomorrow on another edition of a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Sains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit twosains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.